Hi, Jay.
Listen. I apologize, but when you put all this stuff in my lap to control on the tech side here, you guys deserve everything you get. Like,
Hey,
you need me to log on and do nothing else when it comes to this stuff.
check out. Hey, look behind look behind his chair. See his screen set up?
Well, I saw that too. Like, I could use a guy like Stephen close by to me at all times. You know what I mean?
Right?
Look how many wires that, you know what that I don't even know what to do with that, all those wires over there. You know where they go? If somebody unplug them? Wow.
No, once they're plugged in, if anybody goes near them, they get a beating. Trust me. Near anything. I hold my breath. Every morning I wake up, I hope everything's running.
Stephen, where are you, in New York?
Unfortunately, yeah, I want to be in Florida though. But
yeah. Well, same. Oh God, man, you're like my twin.
Come on, Jesus, snap your fingers, make me over there.
Yeah.
Put me by the beach every morning, every day. I'll live another 30 years.
Yeah, you know how long I've had a plan to get the hell out of here? I'm on the island.
You're on Long Island? So let's pack light. We'll get a boat together. We'll name it Pack Light. That's it.
I've had a plan to move to Florida my whole life and just keep flying by.
I'm 59. This is my last winter. Hella high water. I don't care.
Yeah, you guys, it makes so much sense.
My son's a Florida resident before his old man. He's 22. This is not right.
Yep, I agree. I definitely agree. It's ridiculous. The winters are just too much.
Anyway, you guys, can we get on to the fact that, like, in the past week, crude has rallied $20 and the market's in the same place?
Yeah. I was reading an article today about a similar where what happened with Tesla in that run up. Remember when Tesla went bananas to the upside? You had that. What's that?
We ran from 400 to
Yeah. So they're talking about potentially the same thing happening to crude.
I hope crude goes to 120, 125 because I'm backing the truck on the SCOs. I'm just backing the truck up and forget I even own them.
And then, I mean, what if it goes to 175? What if it goes to 1? I mean,
I don't really care.
Okay.
If it goes to $1.50, I'll buy 200,000 shares. I don't really care. 300,000 shares.
Hey, Stephen, on the monthly, is there any sort of timing on, like, because these highs in the market are non-confirming, right?
I had big sell signal on the weekly charts. So I had a big monster sell divergence above 4,800. I was screaming to everybody, if they get above 4,800, 4,850, you got to be. So, I mean, literally, anybody who had a mutual fund, I was screaming up and down like a baboon. You got to get it.
So if they make new highs, it'll non-confirm, or they'll have to go to like
non-confirmation. Yeah,
right.
You'll have a monster divergence pattern that could make. I mean, look, we went from 4,800 down to 4,101, right? So we dropped 700 points on the S&Ps, and then I knew it. They're never going to make them break 30,000 the first time down. It's just to be catastrophic.
Right.
Listen, you just got to trade what you see. Today, I got buy reversals at 9:45 and 10 o'clock. And, Micron, AMD, Microsoft, everything turned on my algorithms and everything. So, you're buying the pullbacks and, you got, listen, in a normal world, you want to be short. You think they're going to drop 500 points on the E-minis, and they're not, because oil's touching 111, 112, and you're scratching your head saying you got inflation, you're going to have, higher energy, fuel costs, food costs, discretionary income. The economy is going to come to a screaming halt, and they're rallying because the Federal Reserve comes out, these monkeys, that they think that they're that they think their academics are smarter than all of us, and yet the game's rigged. They make Bernie Madoff look like a chipmunk.
For real. And then, where do you think inflation is? I mean, the official numbers are.
I mean, the Federal Reserve always maintained that their target was 2%. Consumer prices at 7.6. I believe it's actually probably 12%.
Okay. And then, so look at the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield is 170.
Right, it's insane.
So you gotta have,
Well,
you
here,
gotta
I
have,
got one better. When the Dow was around the 10,400 level, when I was trading back in the old days, I remember the Fed funds rate between 4.5 and 4.75, maybe even touching 5.
right.
It's
Hey, my
30,
first,
20,
you
it
know,
puts
my
the Dow
first,
much
my,
higher.
my first mortgage was 11.5%.
This is
That's
insane.
nuts, huh?
These people just don't know what they're doing. They are caught so bad because if they raise rates, they know that we take in $4.5 trillion in tax revenue. They know that every time they raise, it's more money as interest comes off of the the tax revenue for all the debts that's outstanding. They know that's going to hurt the market. They got to keep this bubble going.
Right? They got to keep the bubble going. And then at what point will you not fill up your car? At what point, what point is gas due?
How you can fill up the car is not going to restaurants, not buying certain things, not, going to movies. The whole economy is going to just shut down because of this.
Well, it doesn't appear, their bet is the opposite. Their bet is that, if we keep asset prices elevated, then it's the charade continues, right? Like, oh, crude's expensive, but so are
I
stocks.
remember
And
during
so,
the subprime market, people on my street had second mortgages, right?
right,
Everybody on my street, when interest rates were near, so low, right, in the 08 time period. This one they borrowed money off their home. This one, and because they're in prices that they bought a home for 800 now at $1.6 million. So they think in their head they had $800,000 of paper profit and they're taking out a second mortgage. And yet, what are they really doing? They all got caught.
right.
It dropped, right? The asset prices dropped. They all got caught with the second mortgage. There must have been 20 new boats on my street, right? I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I'm like, these people are like, I'm telling you, these people are insane.
So if the Fed, wait a minute, if the Fed raises, is that just like the margin call that or margin increase that we just saw from?
But they're not going to raise anything to a significant matter.
Right.
I heard a guy laugh last week, said to me they're going to raise 7 times this year. I said, I bet you $500,000 they're not going to do it. Yeah,
No fucking
cash. I'll put the money in escrow and not raising 7 times. You want to take that bet? Yes or no? The guy looked at me like I was half crazy.
Hey, Stephen, I learned something really smart from Jay. Jay told me he comes from a gambling background and he plays the ponies a lot.
There you go. They're off, you lose.
And he was telling me that the payout's not really relevant in regards to the setup. And I see that you do that as well, right? Like when you are defining what works as a setup for you, you're looking strictly at the probability of the outcome being favorable, not the potential payout. Is that right?
So basically what I do is I believe in consistency, right? And
Right.
so what I spent 8 and almost 9 years of my life building was the ability to build something where I can have the high, I'm not in this to be right 50, 60, 70, or 80% of the time. You want to be in this to be right 90 plus. And when I was, the #1 day trader, as I was told, in the country for nearly 4 years, I had a 97.4% hit ratio. And I was not going to do this if I was right 80, 85% of the time.
Can you tell me why you think the longer time periods always win over the shorter ones?
Well, intraday, we look at the 3, 5, 15, 30 and hourly, right? But mostly the 3 and 5 and the 15, right?
Right.
But when I do my intermediate or longer term work, I'll always go out. I'll go like maybe the 240, the 360, 480, the daily and the weekly, the bigger time frames, right?
Yeah.
And that's what gave me that sell above that 40. When that market hit that 4,800, and everybody's like, they're going to 5,000. I said, no way. I said,
but your point is that the longer time frames always win.
Yes, the bigger time frames. So for example, if the markets are getting kabooshed in the morning, and then next thing I know, I get a big buy reversal, like we had that big 1,000-point rally off the lows that one time they were up 1,000. Remember 2,000 off the lows.
Yep.
Once I got the buys in the 30 and the hourly, again, bigger time frames. I knew the lows were in. I knew we're going to go higher, and that's what they did.
So how is it that you can wait? You use the 3 to kind of like be the little lead scout kind of thing.
So
and then,
I really just look at, and for the intraday movements on the currencies, on the index futures, on the commodities, on the equities and ETFs, I look at the 15-minute time frame, and then I use the 3 and the 5-minute time frame for entries. The most powerful time frame, in my opinion, is the 3-minute time frame.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Which one?
the 3 minute.
Oh, 3 minute. You know what's funny? I used to use 3 minute. And I mostly use 5 minute now. But I used
Yeah,
to
well,
use
a
3 minute more.
combination of the 3 and the 5 on the pullbacks. Like today when I
Yeah.
got buy reversals, we caught the 3 minute. Next thing you know, S&Ps were trading 33. I blinked, they were trading 54 off the 3 minute. And we had the long from like 28 and a half down to 28 to 35 range, 35 to 28 range. We got down to 33. I literally turned to my right to look at the Aussie dollar really quick, and boom, next thing I know, it was 38, 40, 44, 45, 50. I'm like, guys, got to sell into this if you're long, and a lot of guys caught that long off the 3. See, because I leave things up dynamically, and I have a telestrator, and people have the same stuff that I'm looking at on their desktops, so they're able to see this and they know the pattern like that. It's a monster.
Time out. Were the longer time frames in sync with that move?
Not at that time. Later on, once the S&Ps closed above the 45.50, I got to buy into 30 at 10:30. Then around 11 o'clock, I got to buy in the hourly, and then I knew.
Okay.
They're going up.
Oh, so
Oh,
when you
so
see
that's
the
what he meant by that.
so when you see the longer time durations flip later in the day, you know the lows are in for the day.
Oh
so to
yeah.
speak.
Oh yeah. And
Right,
then you're looking for pullbacks, and then I tweeted out and I told everybody in my room that the pullback's going to happen. We're going to get a sharp drop, and we're going to get a nice pullback between 3 and 3:30, and we got the pullback at 3:30, and then they rallied, 15 handles at the end. Then they got cabooshed at the end of the day.
So for people watching, right, you would tell them to look at the 3 a lot, and then make sure, if you can, be cognizant of the longer time frame data segments, right?
So what I do, yes, to answer the question, but what I do is, because I've been given a gift, and I literally have 44 screens here or something like that. Whatever.
That's it? 44?
That's it. I need 6 more, Jay. Jesus. So snap your fingers. Give me 6. So at 44, 24. How many? Yeah, 46, whatever. So basically, I'm conveying information to those of you who can only sit in front of 2, 4, 6 screens at a time. And I'm giving you the ideas. And for me, I like to trade the same things over and over and over and over again, because you get into the routine. And listen, my research has shown me that on an intraday basis, you can get anywhere between 4 to 6 great moves each day on every asset that you're looking at.
Hey, Stephen, timeout. Do you miss the floor? I mean, that's obviously
No
where you
way. Are you crazy? No, I almost kill people on the floor.
because that's where you have the whole thing. You replicated the floor basically in your trading environment, right? Where we had screens all over the walls.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't miss the floor, Chris. The floor, you ran out with a bunch of orders. I mean, I was there, in the crash of 87. I was there, I was there. Actually, I was sitting with a major hedge fund guy during the long-term capital debacle, but I was supposed to be on the floor that day, but I took the day off to go be with him. He runs about 13 billion now.
Yeah, that's a killer story. What was that story? You told him, didn't you tell you bailed his ass out or something,
No,
right?
I didn't bail. No, but so I don't know if I can mention his name or anything like that, but it's one of the largest hedge funds in the world, and I was very close to him. Still know him to this day, but not as close anymore. But I was doing his business. He was trading a lot, and he said to me, Stevie, why don't you come up one day and hang out with me? I said, okay, pick a day. He goes, how about next Monday?
Well, hey, what was the typical order size for someone of that size?
Back then, 50,
Yeah.
25, 50,000, 100,000.
Right.
It
I mean,
was on the market back then,
right. You clock a ticket, and it, wasn't big until it was over 100,000
So all of a
shares.
sudden I get there, I go to Connecticut, I'm hanging out and everything like that. It was a very, very quiet day. He moved everything over for me to sit right next to him. And all of a sudden I see the Dow down 40, down 50. That's big moves back then. You're not, this is no joke now.
Yeah.
Down 100, down 150. I'm just sitting there like this. I'm like not saying anything. Down 544, something like that. And now the sweat's pouring off my forehead. I'm just sitting there like this. And I hear him say, literally, these are I never forget this was on. I never, like, was this 10 seconds ago? He says, what do you think? I literally turned like this. You couldn't even put a penny between my nose and his. And I said, buy blanket everything. And I was spitting. And then I heard him say, you take 40 and I'll take 40. So I heard him buy Chevron. I bought 100,000 Exxon. I hear him buy Merck. I bought 75,000 sharing plow. I literally, and these are not the days where you're calling it out to the clerk and he's calling it down to the different floor brokers. And you have no idea, other than the fact that these orders are out there, and that you have no idea where your average price is. 20 minutes later, I'm getting reports and I have a piece of paper. So now the Dow rallies from down about, so I actually till this day thought we stopped the Dow from going down like 1,000 points that day, because we probably did about 4 to 6 million shares, right? Just on the buys. And then they rallied about 280 points. And around 3 o'clock, I said, oh my God. Now, I mean, listen, if you're buying a Dow stock like Exxon and it rallies 250 points, you know you're up money. And I didn't have like they could plug it in and see a dynamic P&L. I said, sell everything. And we sold everything. And then
you got to tally it up at the end of the day, right?
You got to be flat at the end of the day. That's how we operated. And you know, till this day, was that I have no idea how much money I made. He did. Later on, he never told me till this day, and he put his arm around me, he walked me out, and he actually made a comment that I actually went completely crazy. He said, as the sweat, my heart's racing, it's like 3:45, something like that, maybe right near the market closes. He says to me, you know, next time you come, I got to be net short. Oh my God, Chris. I went completely, I was 245, 50 pounds. I was working out like an animal. I stood up and I went, boom. I said, don't you ever talk to me like that again. He goes, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then he put his arm around me. He put his arm around me and walked me out and said, thank you for everything. And I never knew how much we made at the end of the day.
Hey, Jay, tell Stephen what you trade and what you do, because he doesn't know you.
I mean, I intraday trade, but I don't, you know, just to be dead straight with you, I don't have enough faith in my trading skills to look at the market the way you do, in a sense. You know what I mean? Like
Jesus, I'll teach you, Jesus. I'll teach you.
I don't even know if I have the brain capacity for it. But you know what was interesting? When you were talking about divergences and all that stuff. I trade a lot off two things: sentiment, right? Overall sentiment, positioning, how players are positioned, and we use the option market as kind of confirmation. So the two things I'm looking at, like you're looking at setup throughout the day, I'm looking at order flow, and I'm looking at how players are positioned, and that's generally what I do. So I do a little bit of swing trading, position trading, and day trading. The day trading is more of kind of grind it out, make some money, and allows me to be patient for my position entries, sort of thing. But again, I've been in the game. I was a licensed broker, so I wasn't on the floor or anything like that. But
Jay, come into my live channel every single day, and I'll show you how the strategies I built. I've been doing this now. August 1st will be 39 years, right? Wait, 83, 17. Yeah, 39 years. This August 1st. Years.
Hey, Stephen, but aren't some people wired differently? Like, I mean, you have to say right there, I have never met a person wired like you. And certainly Jay is wired in a particular way. And Jay also says that there are many people who aren't even wired for the business.
Listen, I mean,
well, you think, let me ask you this, Stephen, let me ask you this before you go on. You think you could have, and I wouldn't say anybody, but you think basically you could have anybody who's listening today come there and you can,
absolutely,
and you can teach them?
Absolutely. I wouldn't do this. I have offers all around the world to trade with the best of the best.
No, I'm saying you think they could put it to work?
Not you, right? Yeah, Stephen, not you, right?
Not
we know that you,
no,
right?
I feel with the God-given ability I have, and Chris, you know me.
Yeah.
I can take anybody. I talk to people in Kuwait who've never met me, and I'm helping them. I teach people. At this stage of my life, I could walk away. I'm very blessed.
But in your chat, I've seen you really come down on people who are trying to do things wrong.
No, I'll give you an example, right? I mean, like, I don't like hoopolitis. Okay, that's something that I make up my own terminology. Hoopolitis. It's a person that doesn't have a brain between their ears, right? Like you cannot trade without stop orders, right? So like, let's say you long 50 S&P futures and now it's up 3 handles. Now you're up, hey, 3 handles, that's not bad, $7,500, right? And then, well, I'm just saying if you're trading futures, I'm just, whatever, you could be trading water, okay? And now it's rallying and you're selling, but you forget to put a stop order in, right? And you're scaling up, I mean, I got to tell you that I get hard on people because I care, right? And I want to help change their lives. But the point is, I don't like when people do something on their own that they think they know better. Now, listen, it's their money. They can go back to whatever they want to do. Don't get me wrong. But I'm teaching you a certain methodology that I feel is proven based upon the analytics I have behind me that I wrote, that I'm teaching you. And then you go, like today, for example, Chris, I get a big buy reversal on the Qs, right? I'm buying this pullback. We short them beautifully for the pullback. We get the pullback. It runs, 20 cents. Some guy says to me, I'm out, I'm going short. I'm like, who said to go short? This thing is going to explode. And it pushes up to new highs. My heart almost stopped.
Like some people, that's to Jay's point, right? Like some people are just not wired.
But no, but this guy, come on. I mean, like I said, the pattern, you've been with me and you have the same charts I do. You know this strategy. It's a double blue correlation. You're buying the pullback on the 5. And what do you go and do? You make it 25, 30 cents. And now you want to short them? They ran another 50.
I mean, come on. Have you ever, Stephen, there's an expression that the monks use is that you can't share karma. The cause and effect that got you to the place in your life is not the cause and effect that got someone who's trying to sell them when you told them to buy them.
You know what, Chris, to answer your question earlier, you know me, I got a heart the size of Montana.
Yeah, you do.
I want to help people.
Right.
But I do get hard on people, not because I want to be mean to them. It's because one of my 5 key words is discipline, right? And you want to be consistent. And I'm giving you the confidence because number one, you have me and you have the technology.
Okay, hey, time out. What are the 5 key words?
Consistency.
Right.
Discipline.
Right.
Confidence, patience, and passion. Right. You need the consistency to come back the next day. You need discipline to maintain. Look, this is it. You got to trade them this way. Boom, boom, boom. This is the discipline. You got to use stops. You got to know the patterns, right? The confidence that I'm giving you based upon me with you in the room, teaching you that you can do this on your own in case the Lord takes me one day. And then obviously then the ability to have the technology behind you that you're learning at your fingertips. This is not BS stuff I put in front of you, right? The fourth word is the passion. To wake up and want to do this each and every day. And then the 5th word is the patience, because after I get a buy signal or a sell signal, what do, Chris? We wait patiently for that pattern to set up, and then you attack like a cobra,
Jay, how's that?
I live by all those words. I think all those words are extremely important. And I agree 100% without a doubt. Right? I mean, if you don't have, I could give the rebuttal. You can't find a rebuttal to any of them. If you don't have the patience, you're dead in this game. Right? If you don't have the passion, you won't have the drive to come back from failure in this game. Right? If you don't have the conviction and the belief in whatever you're using to place bets every day, right? This market will chew you up and spit you out.
So you see what he just said, Jay? I mean, you see what he said, Chris, just now, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to teach people to be on the right side of the market, no guesswork, to be able to teach them the patterns, the strategies I wrote, to see it and bam, identify it, and then you wait for that setup, right?
Yeah. Hey, Stephen, time out. Do you ever use a gut feel?
No.
And
it's all
Jay,
based on mathematics.
And Jay, do you use a gut feel ever?
I told you, gut feel, I think, is a disaster.
Right, Stephen?
Oh, Chris, anybody that trades. So Jay, I got drafted by the Mets, right? At one point in my life when I was a kid. And
Really?
And yeah, a center field, right out of high school. Okay. I was a fluke. Okay. And so I mean, I had every tool you can think of. I was given the gift of my life So I love baseball so much that I actually use baseball in my trading, in my terms, in my
Oh,
analysis.
this is my type of guy right here. You sound like me. All kidding aside, ask the people watching this webinar.
All right, are you a Met fan or a Yankee fan?
I'm a diehard Yankee fan.
All
Okay.
right.
So, but yeah, obviously you're a Met fan, right?
No, I'm a baseball fan, but during the
I love baseball.
during the 86 World Series, that year I went to 44 home games. I went to game 1 of the World Series when Tim Tuffle ball went under his leg. So
You know what's funny? I was a little kid. I went to a lot of
Jim Rice foul ball with my bare left hand in the stands.
Yeah. Well, I was rooting for the Mets in '86 anyhow because I hated the Red Sox anyway. You know what I mean? So I
Right.
was rooting for the Mets.
But so I always tell people that my 2 favorite baseball players in the entire go Cardinals. The 2 favorite baseball players that I live and I immortalize is Pete Rose and Ron Carew. Why? Because they're always singles hitters. They're always on the plate. They're always on base, and that's what I want. Always guys making singles. Bam, bam, bam. I don't care if you make 30 handles on the S&P every day, 3 handles, 4 handles, 10 times. But I've seen 5 home run hitters in my life, and they are not in the business anymore. So I'm not looking to have a home run and then strike out 25 times, hit a home run, strike out 25 times. Because preservation of capital is everything when you're trading. I don't care if you're a scalp, day, swing, intermediate, long-term, whatever. You need to be able to be consistent, and you need to constantly put that bat on the ball and put that ball in play. And so that's why I teach everybody.
But hey, Stephen, I don't mean to interrupt, but what happened to Ichiro?
Who?
Ichiro.
Itoro?
Ichiro, you know, the
Japanese,
the Japanese
hitting
guy.
machine.
Yeah, the hitting
Oh,
machine.
the guy from the Dodgers.
Yeah.
No, Seattle. He played for the Yankees.
Ichiro.
Suzuki.
What happened to Ichiro?
Yeah, what happened to Ichiro? Yeah,
He
what happened?
retired.
Oh, he retired.
Yeah, but I mean, when I grew up, there was no Ichiro. When I grew up, it was Ron Carew and Pete Rose. Jay, help me out here.
He's trying to stump me on a Japanese.
Right. Like he was a Japanese singles hitter, right? Like, and he just.
Yeah,
He
but
was
I
a
mean,
hitting machine.
I didn't know
That's
Ichiro
more
when
my
I grew up.
That's
You
more
know,
my
I
time.
grew up with Ron Carew and
Yeah,
Pete Rose.
that's more my time.
You know.
But yeah, no, I agree. And you know, Chris, we've had this discussion. I agree. I think baseball and the market is so many similarities. It's
Oh my God,
scary.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Waiting for your pitch, right?
Oh,
Don't swing at the pitch in the dirt.
patience, waiting for your pitch. Consistency, right?
Yeah. I mean, just like what do good hitters do? They go in the cage and the swing they work on, right? Get that swing down pat. So when they go up to the plate, there's no thought process. All they do is wait for their pitch and put the right swing on.
One thing about me also, Jay, is that I'm very hands-on with people. I give my phone number out to the whole world, 914-500-7484.
Yeah, but hey, Stephen, how many people actually call?
Oh my God, everybody.
No way. Really?
Oh
Everybody?
my God, Chris, I get phone calls in the middle of the night, okay, from Russia, from Australia,
Why?
from Belgium, from Romania, and hello, Steve? Hello, hello. And I formed the company Trade Easy because I felt that it's really important to really, I believe in being in front of people, and I have never, Jay, this is God's honest truth, I have never not returned a phone call, an email, or a text message or a Skype message to one person.
Hey, Jay, check this out, Jay, right?
What?
Stephen had this big investor from Switzerland, and they built out this huge website, and they were broadcasting, and it was going to be like just a place where people could go and choose who they wanted to hang out with in regards to their, and then the guy just pulled the money and pulled the rug out from under Stephen. And so he literally has spent the last, how long has it been, Stephen? A year?
No, about 9 months now.
About 9 months. He had to rebuild with like no capital.
Yeah, but it's okay though, because good things happen to good people, and he was a very good man. He just really wasn't in his space. And I felt that I was not part of the building process. They didn't want me part of it. And I think that with my 39 years experience, listen, I mean, I was the first person in the world to come out with dynamic signals. I presented it and implemented on the bridge technology front end platform. I built the Ready P&L system. I mean,
Yeah.
I have done it all. I mean, I know everything there is. And, you know, and that's why I tell people, if you want to go to Harvard and Oxford, well, I've been there twice. You want to learn from me? Come to me. I will teach you, you know.
Hey, Stephen, what's your lowest moment? Because you've had a few.
My lowest moments.
For real, like
Probably my first trade. My first
I-
trade.
you know, yeah, where your dad was part of that, wasn't he?
Yeah. So my first trade is, back then, Jay, remember these days, I worked for $2.10 an hour. That's what the going rate was.
Nice.
And I never forget, I was actually weeding a woman's lawn with a fork. And the next door neighbor who knew me said, get off your knees after a month. I'll give you $3 an hour. So basically, I saved up for $3,000. And then my father got me a job with Peter Kellogg on the floor of the American Stock Exchange. My father's a good friend.
Yeah, time out. Peter Kellogg was a partner in Spear Leads and Kellogg, which
Owner.
was
Yeah.
owner. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Owner of, and Peter Kellogg was a solid human being. I knew him well.
One of my father's, because of Peter, they gave him, when my father passed away, Peter demanded a minute of silence for everybody on the floor and said, anybody speak, you're getting fined $25,000.
Yeah, Peter Kellogg there was such a thing in the day on the exchange of professional courtesy, and he was
I
the
walked in
embodiment.
one day and he said, who are you? And I said, I'm Jack Kalayjian's son, Stephen. I'm here to see Peter Kellogg. He says, Marge, get him a badge. So they said, I walk on the floor of the American Stock Exchange. But it really started when I was 16, when my father told me, you know, take a walk with me, come down. Dad, you want me to miss a day of school? He goes, yeah, come down. So as I'm walking up the exchange steps, I hear, Ak no dies. I said, Dad, what's Ak no dies? He said, October, November, December, you idiot. I said, oh my God, this is going to be a fun day. Holy cow, right? For my first trade ever, Jay, I had $3,000. I opened an account with my father's best friend. And I see American Can right behind me, which is a Dow stock. So I said, it's October. The stock's trading at 52. I know, stock's trading, about 50 and a half, 51. So I called him up. I said, Tommy, buy me 550 call. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. All I know is a call went up, a put went down. I said, Tommy, buy me 550 calls at 2 3/4. You fail. I see the broker come in. I get the report. Boom. You own 5. So $1,500 with commissions. I'm already half my money out. Now the stock drops down to 49. I buy a little more. Stock drops to 47. I buy a little more. And guess what? The stock drops a little more. I just blow my capital. And then right around Christmas, the stock's trading at 44, 43. And my options are probably worth less than $0.50, right? Now here I'm thinking all the 1,500 hours that I worked per se, right, is gone. And then somebody passed me on the back and he says to me, hey kid, go home. You can't turn the machines back on. I had no money for Christmas. And then I'll fast forward really quick. So I had the Feb 50 calls, which is the third week in February where the options expired. And a week before the expiration, they were like a cabinet to a steam, Chris. Stock's 42, 41 and a half, $10, $8, $9 out of the money, right? The stock goes up 2 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday. I'm just giving an example. 3 on Wednesday, 3 on Thursday. Now it's above 50. 3.5, 4 on Friday. I pick up the phone at 2:45 and said, Tommy, sell 25, 50 calls, market, right? At 3:45. As I'm hanging up the phone, I made my $7,000 or $8,000 or whatever I think I made. I turn around and I see my father and he said, are you out? I said, yeah, I'm out. I'm flat. Well, here's the guy walking the crowd with my order. I see him. 50 calls, 25 market, boom, sold 6 3/4, 7, whatever. All of a sudden he looks at me or whatever I made on that 15, 18, whatever I bought. And he says to me, yeah, I said, I'm out. He said, you know, when I came on the floor this week on Monday morning, I found the penny face stuff. And I bent over and I wish that you won't lose any money on this trade. So what did you learn from this? And I looked at him, I said, I better give this man the right answer. I'm going to get whacked, right? So I said, when you ever have a losing position, you look for a penny faced up. He said, no, you moron. You never average down. And as he walked away, I went into Merrill Lynch. I said, buy 20 Merrill calls. Fuck, I just killed it. A week before expiration. Can you believe it? That's a true story. And so the moral of the whole story is you never, ever average down. You can scale into a position, as you know, right? You scale in, but you have to maintain the stop. You have to maintain the discipline.
Jay, what's your lowest moment?
I don't know if I have a lowest moment, like one that really sticks out. I got to think about that. You know what I mean?
Mine was I blew out. I blew out clean in the top in 2000.
You blew out. Oh, okay. So
I was short calls. I blew out. Period.
You blew out. When you blew out, what do you mean you blew out? Like you blew out and you blew out?
I drew my account to zero. And
okay.
And George Kaufman at Spear Leeds and Kellogg said he'd spot me. Spear Leeds and Kellogg, Stephen.
But listen to me. What I'm saying is I hear a lot of blowout stories, right? And always as a bad story. But when you're new in the game and you blow out, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's better to blow out early in your career than late in your career because you got more to lose later in your career. Like you hear a lot of newer traders that lose $5,000 and the world's coming to an end. But you should be happy that, and hopefully you learned a lesson early on in your career about it, and you didn't blow out, when you're 10, 15 years in, and you're talking about some big money. So when you say blew out, you really blew out? Like it was...
I really blew out short calls.
Really?
Yeah, there's a super cool lesson that Stephen has over just from the years that kind of is a corollary to this. When Stephen gets stopped out, he reinitiates, and that second time is generally
yeah. So Chris, you're dead on. Like if there's a fast movement in the market and I get stopped and then it drops again, the odds are 85 to almost 90% that trade is going to be not only just the winning trade, but recoup based upon the algorithms I have, that the trade will make.
You put it back on, you mean? You put it back on?
Yeah, I go right back in. Yeah.
Right.
Not because you're just looking to be a gambler. It's because the odds are based upon this pattern and what I'm doing. That the odds are about 85, 90% that you're going to make that money. You're going to be a winning trade. And I'm not saying a winning trade by like up one handle, but I mean, monstrous move. And then you make up for the loss on that prior position.
So in a rules-based approach, if you trust your rules and you get stopped out, the real sign of a professional would be to reinitiate because you have confidence in your rules.
Right.
But the pattern failed, but doesn't mean the second pattern is going to fail.
Right. It doesn't mean that the rules aren't valid.
Correct.
Right. Like the technique is still valid, whatever your rules are, right? People have their own rules. But
so
if they're...
Chris, let me ask you, so you blew out in 2000, I'm curious.
I do not recommend it.
No, but I'm saying so what was it? You were long and got caught?
No, I learned about options and I was selling calls into the highs in April of 2000. And the Dow went up 600 points in 3 days, which at that time, like Stephen was saying, right? Like, big moves.
So you were selling naked calls.
That's right.
Oh, that's blowout city though. That what it is, that maybe that's why I don't have. And again, I'm not trying to be arrogant about it, but like I stayed away from a lot of that stuff the majority of my career, because you know what? One thing that I do pat myself on the back, like when I see people blowing up around me and I see the reasons why they're blowing up and it's obvious, I know to avoid those things. You know what I'm saying? Like I could be a degenerate at times, but like I'll give you an example. When I got into the game, margin was the biggest thing. Like you could put up 30, 40% and borrow the rest and own double. You know what I mean? So all these cowboys that were working around me would go margin to the hill, buy a position for themselves, for their clients, leverage it all. And as the market was going up in the 90s, they would print their own money, right? Not factoring in what happens when that pullback showed up. And all of a sudden, boom, a pullback would come and they go negative equity and owe the firm money. So not only would they wipe themselves out, they would have a debit at the firm, And it would happen time and time again, over and over and over again. So early on in my career, it was blatantly obvious. Like I had to be, what do you call them, Stephen? The definition of a jackass?
Hoopa.
No, hoopalitis.
Hoopalitis. Like, you know, to see that around you, it was pretty obvious. Like, okay, something I have to stay away from. Okay,
Well,
is leveraging myself to the hill and not having an exit strategy before I lose all my money. You know what I mean?
right.
Like-
So Jay, there's a couple of things that you mentioned that right off the bat, right? So that's why I decided to take 1 year of my life that took 9 years of my life to build technology, because I wanted to build something.
You just time out. You just decided to go in the basement for a year, and it ended up being 9.
Yeah, no, I did time. I didn't wear an orange jumpsuit. Okay.
But 9 years, Stephen, 9 years.
Of years, I had like 60,000 pieces of paper on the floor. I had to hire, I swear, I had to hire Billy, because Billy saved me from killing 10 developers, because the developers could not understand me, and he was the middleman to understand what I was saying. And Billy's been with me for 14, 15 years, and Billy understands me and then relays it back. I gotta go away. I'll tell him, you know. But Jay, this is exactly the point. My father used to tell me there were guys on the 40 Amex, Chris, a couple of days before expiration, they're hitting quarter bids.
Yeah.
Right? On the OEXs, right?
Yep.
Or the XMIs,
Yep.
right? Back then, the indexes. And I said, Dad, he said, Stephen, they make a living doing this. I said, Dad, all it's gonna take is one day, and the crash of 87, they got blown out. They're hitting bids on puts, right? And these guys got slaughtered.
Yeah,
So
but
they
Stephen,
won 190 times and got killed on that 191.
Right?
Stephen,
It only takes one. It only takes one, Stephen, and then you're wiped out. Just one.
but you know, look, Stephen, Downs 2 standard deviations short puts don't hit risk sheets. Okay, so if you can sell all the quarters in the world and there's no margin.
Right, but that's why what I did was, when the exchange was decided, these rocket scientists in the SEC, and I was in the World Trade Center with 110 people, and there were 3 idiots, me and 2 other people, that were fighting the SEC on decimalization in this big room. And I said, I got to build technology for myself, and the markets are never going to be the same.
Right. I mean, but hey, Stephen, then where's the future? I mean, essentially, right, we've kind of got now figured out. Like
I'm so comfortable, and I don't want to jinx it. I love what I have and what I built, and I'm teaching people all around the world, and
right.
Love it. I just saw somebody just now post, Chris, right, that they got stopped down in AMD at 120. And I immediately, when he wrote that, I went right to my AMD chart, because AMD I leave up dynamically. We got the buy signal. We had about 4 or 5 buys, and then above the 120 level, we got the sell signal. And it pulled in about almost $1.80 at the end of the day.
Do you think your stuff? Hey, wait a minute. Do you think your stuff works in 5 or 10 years from now?
As long as there's volume, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Jay and I were talking, like, really, for real, like
yeah.
I mean, stuff's
if the
gonna
markets
change.
don't dry up and there's no volatility, there's no volume. Like, you ever see, like, remember Chris, back in the old days, they had these ADRs, right? And you would see like an opening, then the dot, and then it close, right? It's not gonna, I mean, I don't, unless you tell me there's not gonna be an exchange or volume of 200 million shares any given day, or 300 million shares, or 1 billion shares a day, then I believe I'll be here. My next project is to do this on the crypto market. So I'm very excited about getting the data for the crypto, Bitcoin.
You trade crypto at all, or not yet?
Well, I'm going to be, and then probably in the next 3 weeks.
I mean, wait a minute. You have 46 screens. Stop.
I got to get 3 more.
We don't need to trade crypto.
Yeah, I do.
Like, what? Come on. Like, what? Do you have what is it? ADHD?
So, 60 Minutes wanted to do a 1-hour special on me.
Yeah, but they didn't.
They didn't, because I didn't want to do it. And they
But they
said,
didn't.
what's the hardest part of your day? I said, getting in my car and leaving. They go, come on, what are you being like that? I said, because I feel safe here.
Yeah, but you leave every day at 3:30. Why do you do that?
I don't leave at 3:30 because I'm in a soft launch until I get, because I have meetings to go because I'm about to launch next Thursday. And
Right.
when
I mean,
do launch-
3:30 is like when the market really rolls, and you're like, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
No, because I have meetings, Chris, right now until I do the hard launch on Trade EZ, which is next Thursday.
Uh-huh.
But
And hey,
once
Jay, you trade right through the bell, obviously, right?
Yeah, I don't, honestly, I don't trade, I don't like to trade late. Cause I feel like I'm in a rush to get out if I need to get out before the bell. And then I hate battling the clock. You know what I mean? I just say it's an uncomfortable feeling. I like trading off the open. I'm talking about intraday now,
Yeah.
off the open. And, in the middle of the day, a lot of times there's just no action, but I don't mind trading when there's action in the middle of the day. I feel like I have an even more of an edge in the middle of the day because there's not as much, there's not as many players around. You know what I mean? So like when I see something that sticks out in the middle of the day, I got a good shot at it because there's not that many players chasing it. You understand? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Stephen, you're the same way, right? Like you like wait a few minutes at the open, but then your wheelhouse is like till noon. And
Well,
then
I'm here at 9 o'clock. I used to start at 8 o'clock and do pre-market, but and now because I'm getting a little older, and I said, screw it, let me just start at 9. But I was here at 11 o'clock. I was up here till 11 o'clock last night, and I was posting stuff. I saw a crude oil pullback below the 107.90, got down to like 107.71. And the thing next I know, it blinked, it's up at 111. I'm like, look at this pattern, it's insane. But the thing, Jay, I'll tell you, Jay, if you want to open up your mindset and wheelhouse, imagine if you had this is what propelled me to do this, right? Because I'm a visual guy. When I was piss poor, okay, I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
I had a black and white TV, 13-inch. And that's how I learned the game of baseball. I watched the Roberto Clementes of the world. I watched Johnny Bench's of the world, who I got to meet. He held the 7 baseballs in his hand. And I watched baseball based upon me standing so I was a very visual person.
Right.
So if I could show you or anybody based upon what I've done here, that I can show you how these patterns repeat themselves, how these strategies repeat themselves, and how we're able to identify based upon pure mathematics. Remember the movie Contact with Jodie Foster? You ever see that movie?
no.
Great movie. I mean, not that it's won an Academy Award.
But
So
Stephen, but you have to understand that people are wired differently.
Yeah, no, everybody's different. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, the way Jay goes at it is completely different than the way you go at it, which is
100%.
and completely the way, right? That's what I mean. Like, some people are long ball hitters, some people are not, to use your right or
100%.
But
yeah, and no, but what's amazing? It's just listening to Stephen talk about the game. Right, you could tell like when somebody's passionate about this game, right, it gets a hold of you. Like he knows every tick, right? Like he's talking about crude oil at 1:30 at night last night, and you hear a lot of traders that, you can't burn yourself out. You can't, you won't make it if you let yourself get too attached. That's bullshit. Again, everybody's wired differently. There's guys like Steven that they got 46 screens. They're watching every tick. They know every tick of the market because they're so passionate about it. But like he just loves the game, right? He just loves the game.
I mean, I wake up. I love what I do. I mean, right now at this stage of my life, there's no greater feeling than seeing me help people and change their lives and teaching them, and they're really saying, I got it. Wow, I got it. Listen, I can go to Florida. I hope this is my last winter here in New York, and I'm going to maintain that.
Challenge, you always say that, but I mean, to your point that you always help people, it's really been cool. And welcome to the Misfits. You're an official Misfit.
I am an official Misfit
at this point, and and maybe you can run the tech instead of Jay down the road.
No, don't. So that's why I started.
I found a way to piss him off today.
That's why I started Trade EZ, Jay, because TradeEZ.com will be launching next week, and like I said, I give out my personal phone number to everybody.
But hey, Stephen, has anybody ever walked up to you in the street and said, "Hey, you're Stephen K"?
100%.
Really?
Oh my God, I was in Florida, I was in Vegas, I was all over. Are you Steve Kalayjian? I'm like, yeah. I was at a bar one time and he said, I see this guy staring at me. And I'm like, oh my God, what's this about? You know, like, I don't like this. And I'm very, you know, me, you cut me, I bleed just like you know. He said, are you Stephen Kalayjian? I said, yeah. He goes, man, I've been looking to get in hold of you. I've traded Forex. Can you help me? And I still talk to this guy every day. And he uses my stuff and he trades the foreign exchange markets. And you know what? I'm happy for him. You know,
Do you
25.
do any of them? You do any of those like seminars and stuff, or?
I'll be doing a lot of things going forward. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Jay. He's just starting. He's just rolling out again.
Oh,
This
okay.
is like
Yeah.
he's like he was killed and now he's being reincarnated. Stephen, have you ever misjudged a person, like someone
Oh
who's
my God. Yes, of course. Who hasn't?
right? Is that more painful to misjudge a person than misjudge the market?
So in one of my podcasts, I'm gonna talk about this. I'd rather go through the most nastiest divorce in the world than be with the wrong business people, right? Because I think when you have the passion that I do to love something as much as I do, which is this trading and what I'm done here, and to help people and to teach people. And then when you're with the wrong people, as you know, Chris, right? And I've talked privately, and you just feel like your whole insides have been taken out of you. I'd rather go through a bad divorce than be with the wrong business people, you know? And, you know, Jay, I'll tell you something. For 3 years, I traveled the country while I was building the other site. I met everybody you can think of under the sun. And I will say truthfully that I used to gauge it based upon the number of 100, Chris, right? And out of 100 people, 97 were full of crap. And the 3 people would change my life. So it wasn't good odds, but I did come across, you know, people that the minute I shook their hand, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be an expensive dinner. What am I doing here? You know? Chris, we met and we've been best of friends since we met.
Right.
You were one of those 3 for that quarter.
And so we have all these people watching, Stephen. And so, I mean, it's really not, it's a Lucci site. So, I mean, the self-promotion thing is not in their business interest, but at least give yourself a quick, what is it, tradeeasy.com?
Yeah, tradeeasy.com, www.tradeeasy.com. You go to my Twitter.
And, you know, right. And so, you know, you're here as a misfit. We're not here to self-promote.
No, 100%.
And so.
Where are you on Twitter anyhow? I'll follow you on Twitter.
At Steve Kalayjian.
Oh, okay. Your name is on there. I thought it was like maybe Stephen Jesus or Jesus of Stephen.
I can be, you know, Steve Kalayjian. Well, I could have a Jesus as a middle name.
I'm trying to think of the apostle names. I'm not that religious. I couldn't think of anything.
And thank you for being a misfit, and thank you for helping. You know, we're just starting the show up.
Oh, I love it. Well,
it's great. Yeah, and
yeah, we come in here. I crashed the party here, right? I came on once. Now I come and crash regularly. You know,
right?
I
Stephen,
throw your technology a little aloof, and I get things done.
Hey, Stephen, most of the Lucci students have about 2 years of experience, and they're trading full time. And
and you didn't tell them the most important part. Okay, the majority of these guys are option players, Steve.
Well, that's a really great point, because if they're trading intraday options, my personal experience and I have options guys in here, and you know, the only time I really tell them to get involved with the options market is when I get these big buy and sell reversals in intraday, you know, and where I know the move is going to happen, and then bam, you know, you can scale in, and then boom, you're going to push up if it's a long. But Jay, I'll tell you, I've never seen more people start trading the spreads, the index spreads, the call spreads and the put spreads. They are absolutely ballooning. At the money calls in the indexes are, look at the volume, Chris.
It's crazy. Options in general is just nuts. You know what I mean? I think the option volume was greater than the equity volume, right? For the first time ever. I think I read that on CBOE.
Well, I have a friend of mine who owns a big member firm, and I'm meeting him on Tuesday, and he's telling me the volume is off the charts. And
Ridiculous.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, especially with the skew and the implied balls.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people don't realize this, and that's what like I have a talk with a lot of guys in the room about a lot, but because they don't, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people don't look at the real value out of options. Like a lot of professionals you talk to, okay, the allure to the option game is that you can manage your risk so efficiently. You understand? You don't necessarily have to rely on yourself to make judgment calls of where to pull the plug, okay? But a lot of newer traders, greed comes into the equation, okay? And what they want to do is they want to treat options like equities. You understand? They want those strict stop losses, even though the spreads are wide. You understand? The allure in the option game, like when you talk to professionals, is that, listen, you want to place a bet? It's very simple. You can put into that bet what you're willing to lose. There's no emotion, no stress involved. You lose, you already know what you're going to lose, right? There's no decision making there. And I think a lot of newer traders, because they look, you know, they're just degenerates in nature. They look at how much money they can make as opposed to how much money they're risking. You understand? So instead of putting in what they want to lose, they're like, all right, I'll put in triple that and I'll try to stop myself out. And you can ask Stephen what happens when you try to find consistency, stopping yourself out in options.
So the only way I teach people to trade options in my live channel each and every day is whenever I get a buy and a sell reversal off the 15 or the 30-minute time frame, and I wait for the pattern, and then you attack it, and then or if I get a correlation pattern versus the NASDAQ futures with the Qs or the Qs with the NASDAQ futures, or vice versa with the S&Ps, and the spiders are pulling in beautifully for this beautiful pullback. And I'll say, okay, now if you're looking, this is where I'm buying them. This is where I think you're going to get this first pullback off the 5-minute. We should push up to new highs here. And then
intraday though, right? Intraday only? Just intraday.
Yeah, I mean, because I've never seen explosion in the options market for at the money calls when I get these buy and sell reversals and when I get these big correlation patterns that happen daily. And then you see people just piling in and doing, whether they're buying futures or they're buying the stocks or they're buying, you know, the or they're buying the at the money calls, the weeklies, right? Or they're doing the call spreads. You got 4 ways you can trade, you know, off of that, right? Or the, you know, and it's just amazing the amount of volume, because now you're guiding them, you're mentoring them, you're coaching them, you're giving them the technology, you're giving them the confidence, and now you're giving them the ability to see it. They're using the same stuff, and I'm teaching the strategy, and boom, they recognize it. But
hey, Stephen, and Jay, are the people swarming to the options or the volumes exploding because there's less pain? You don't have to admit you're wrong, as though they just go away.
Smaller accounts.
Yeah, you don't have to have
a $5,000 account, Chris. I can send it in on a call or a put, and I can see 10 times my money. What am I going to do? Buy 10 shares of Google? You know what I mean? Like, where am I going with that? What the Robinhood traders see is they want to turn that $5,000 into 50. They're not going to do that in the equities.
Right, I get it. Right, you don't have to admit you're wrong, and you get greater leverage.
Yeah, but
I mean, exactly. I mean, look at the asset prices. The Dow went from 18,000 to 36,000, 37,000. So what do you think these stock prices have gone? But the options they can trade, right?
The options what?
What's that? I think
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, you cut out there.
When the Dow goes from 18,000 to 37,000, right? And what do you think these asset prices, they balloon? So who's got the money? If you have $30,000 in your account, you're getting 4 times leverage, 120,000.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's ludicrous. So people have resorted back to what, Chris? Options and futures.
Yeah.
I mean, but time out. Is it a Wall Street casino? Is it just another table?
Come on, we had to
legalized way of gambling. If you ask me, you hear me tell all the time.
Gambling. It's gambling. Period. gambling. There's no sugarcoating it. You're gambling. That's why we
Best
call a
thing,
lot of
the
options
best thing
traders
about
do
this whole game is that you can make $100,000. You got to pay tax on it, but you lose 100,000. You got 90 years of write-offs. You know?
It's such ridiculous. And you know what was crazy? I don't know if you guys were like, I don't know, maybe it was just around shysters back then, but the options, when I first started to learn about options, another really one of the takings everybody was drawn in by, you didn't necessarily have to report it back then. It was a contract. You weren't buying the equity. So you technically didn't have to pay taxes. They shit on that right quick. But there was a little period of time where they weren't even reporting gains in the option world when they started heating up back in the day.
So Jay, you want to hear a great story?
What?
A couple of years ago, my partner and I were talking. I said, we got to, maybe 3 years ago, Jay, Chris, I don't know if I ever told you the story. I said, we've got to build a game, right? I want to build a Wall Street app. And then I came up with another idea, right? To build a game where you can bet where asset prices would be at certain periods of the time. So let's say 1,000 people played this one game. Where is Apple going to be higher or lower than these different increments? And then people would win cash prizes or even a Ford pickup truck or whatever you would decide to do. Well, guess what? We got in trouble for even thinking of, not in the sense, but it was almost designed where the SEC said, you know what, we like you guys. We think you're onto something, but you can't do it the way you need to do it. You need to create an exchange and spend the $1 million. We'll help you build it, but I think you're going to end up being very successful at it. And
right. So you have to go under their umbrella, right? Because you had to go under their umbrella, technically, right?
It was deemed a derivative.
Right. Exactly.
So if you base a $2 bet, right? What was it? If you bet a $2 bet, right?
And you can cash value it. Would take money in exchange for that.
Yeah, you would take exchanging money for a bet to the upside, and if they lost, I was like, you got to be kidding me! How many things can you guys control? You know, I mean, that's insane. How about just worry about all the bandits on there? Worry about the Federal Reserve. You know,
Right. Well, that's what took down the market in '08. Those credit default swaps. That's what they were, weren't they?
Come on, Jay, let's build it together. Let's go. Crack it open. Let's go.
I can't turn on the computer, but let's build it.
I'm telling you, this will be the legalized way, right, to establish an exchange, and you can actually do an IPO on it. The SEC actually said to me, "Oh, it'll take you about 8 months to build it," which is true. That was true. We had attorneys and everybody look at it, and they said, "You know what? You can then become your own exchange, and we will help you become an IPO." I can't believe the SEC actually guided us like that.
But Stephen, they've already got 10 million new accounts every 3 months at Robinhood, right? Like you missed the boat there.
No, but this is an app. This
right.
is a trading app.
So, yeah, so is Robinhood. It's a trading app.
Yeah, and I'm talking about betting, like $2. What are you gonna do? Can't buy stock or not. You know what I'm saying? You
right.
Can buy, you can like the 100 people.
He's talking about like DraftKings of
right, exactly. Right, you were betting.
Yeah.
Fantasy trading.
Yeah, like fantasy baseball.
Come on, Jay, break open one of those CDs.
There we go. Hold on, let me practice setting up my Zoom, and then I'm ready to build an app. I'm all set.
Yeah.
So you guys, look, we've been on this now for an hour, and we can keep.
30 minutes was a screw up. No?
I know. Right now, this is an hour. Do we want to? We can keep going. There's no reason that we can't keep going. Stephen, do you have any? What was your biggest winning day?
Oh, this is a killer. This is a God's honest true story. This it happened 10 seconds ago. So I got involved in the currency markets. Guy came over from Europe and he asked me to help him. And this is a true story. We were up pretty good money for the month. I think we were up about $800,000-900,000 for the month, right? If I remember correctly. And it was the last day of the month. And
it was the last day of the month.
Yeah, it was the last day of the month, and there was trade. I used to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had a bed in the office, and next thing I know, we traded the European session. So I got there at 2:30, 2:45, had my cup of coffee. Ding, ding, ding. The European markets open at 3. I started trading the currencies. Well, back then Chris, I swear to you, the yens traded mirror for mirror, tick for tick with the S&Ps. They really correlated
Yep.
beautifully. So,
Yeah, for years.
so next thing I know, I see this monstrous pattern in all the yens and the euro and the pound, right? True story, right? Unbeknownst to me, I start getting long everything. New Zealand dollar yen, Aussie yen, euro yen, pound yen, boom, boom, boom. Next thing I know, I look at the account, I'm long 70 million euro dollar, 80 million pound, and another 150 million yens, right? And I said, oh my God, what did I just do? You know, this is insane, right? And every time it moved up or down, I was losing 40, 50, 60, $70,000. So I said, there goes my month, you know, I just like an idiot, you know? And I said, okay, at one point down 500, I got to start hitting bids because I'm going to move the market, right? At 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30. Chris, I swear to you, I look you square in the eye at 4:40 in the morning. As much as I hated him, Bernanke cut the discount rate.
Oh,
And
you got act of God. You got lucky.
oh my, I couldn't sell. The stupid computer would say, like, I would sell 10 million pound yen. It said, you sure you want to sell? Yes, you have to override it, right? And next thing I know, I sold everything. And the clerk, my assistant at the time, me, 3 of us in the room, we were selling so fast on everything that I said, okay, we're flat. He goes, I said, all right, I guess I know what I called out. And he looks at me, he says, oh my God, we're short 120 million of everything. I said, what the hell did you do? He said, what are you talking about? Everything is dropping. So we covered everything. I said, turn the machines off. I said, I'm not seeing you for 3 days. I'm going to the diner getting 3 eggs, right? And we made over $1 million.
You just had an ulcer. Now you're going to clog an artery.
That was insanity.
Jay,
I went from about to hit the bid on everything to making $1 million.
Wow.
Because of Bernanke. And even though I never liked him because when he made the comment during the 08 crisis, all the subprime market remains contained. I wanted to jump through the TV and just like tell him off, right? But how can I tell him off after no, that was based upon a pattern that I had, but the pattern pulled in and I kept on buying more off of the bigger time frame now. So I went off the 5, then I went off the 15, then I went off the 30, and I broke a little discipline there, but I got lucky.
Yeah, you were up on the
I wanted
month.
to name one of my racehorses, Hit the Bid. That's a great name. I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Jay, have you ever had an assistant that you work with?
What do you mean assistant?
Like like a kid who would
Oh,
like
no,
on the
I
floor we had
had,
clerks.
Yeah, I had, at the top of my game, I had 3 sales assistants, and I had probably, I would say 15 guys underneath me working, trying to get licensed, that sort of thing. You talking about that?
Yep.
So, yeah. So basically they would they would get new accounts for me to trade. You understand? They were just licensed, learning the game. So, part of their learning curve would be for me, basically to rob them. That was that was kind of the thing. You have to open accounts for the senior broker and shit like that. But I have a cool story. See, you didn't ask me about. I have a cool
This is what we want. Yes, we want to hear this.
Okay. So, I don't want to get into the details of how I met this guy, but my father, he passed away, but he was, a degenerate gambler. Gambled, you have no idea. I can't even tell you the story. Okay, the man would lose 6 figures in a night, and you couldn't tell if he lost $1 or made money. No emotion. Okay, it didn't bother him one bit. All for the action. That's all. That type of gambling, right? But I think I told you this because he was around like a lot of professional gamblers, gamble for a living. You know what I mean? Who were the total opposite of him. Okay, so make a long story short, we're actually at the racetrack. Now that I'm thinking about it, we're at the racetrack. And I get introduced to a guy, blah blah blah. So he starts talking a big game about the market. I was in the market, make a long story short up, right? So he tells me to buy a certain stock, right? He's hearing good things, this and that, whatever. So make a long story short, I buy it for clients. And this is the first time I really even dabbled in options. I greased it up with some calls on top of the equity, okay? And that was like a Thursday. So yeah, I just took a shot. I had a good month the month before. I had some money to burn. Clients were okay with it. They had money to burn. Lo and behold, Monday morning, I wake up, I get out of the shower, I got CNBC on. I guess I could tell you the symbol too. I'm all on, I'm always watching who's listening, right? But the name of the company was Morton Salt. You ever hear Morton Salt? You know the product Morton Salt.
Yeah.
You ever,
Yeah.
Morning salt.
Okay. So I get a CNBC. I always have CNBC on in the morning in the background, whatever. And hey, Morton Salt gets acquired for $80 a share this morning. I'm like, what? I thought I was sleepwalking and dreaming. They got bought out. Okay. They got bought out. This is not like I'm scrolling the news, trying to check it out or anything like that, anticipating it. I come out of the shower to hear Morton Salt, this tip I got, just got bought out. Okay. 60% higher than where the stock was. So now I'm walking in, literally, it falls. You talk about on the last day of the month, like Stephen was saying, it was the last day of the pay period for brokers. So now I'm coming in to a bucket of liquidity that I got to come out of, okay? Because, you get acquired, boom, you want to sell it and take your commission and do what you got to do. But, I mean, that's a classic story. 2 days after some guy talks shit to me at a racetrack. Now, again, he's a professional gambler. So I'm saying to myself, this guy knows his shit. You know what I mean? He does this for a living. Why not? You know what I mean? Why not? And I wake up the 2 days, that Monday morning was actually, so the weekend, the Monday morning, I wake up to buyout news. That I guarantee you, everybody in here, after like can vouch, there is no better feeling than waking up to buyout news when you're loaded up in full. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like, it doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. So that's one of my best stories ever.
That's a great story. Hey, Stephen, do you gamble?
No, I'll kill somebody.
Someone always knows. You want to hear something crazy, not to interrupt you? Okay? Because you guys are probably wondering it. You want to laugh? I get a letter from the SEC. Okay? I get a letter from the SEC. And I got to fill out this shit explaining why I bought the stock and give the reasons and all of the research and all that, why I bought it for clients and all that shit. One winner. I was young, new in the game. So I was actually a wise ass in the letter. I said, what about all my other losers? You guys don't question me about that. I get lucky with one winner, and you want to know as the X, Y, and Z of my research I did on the stock. But I swear to Christ, I got a letter. Certified in the mail at the sign for it and explaining why I bought that shit. Okay? Meanwhile, all these big shots we're talking about, Chris, they print their own money in this game.
Oh yeah.
They're telling me they don't trade on information and they get away with it, rat bastards, little guy.
Right. I mean, it's so easy for everybody sees it. It's, we can always.
It's obvious. It's obvious, right? It's like not even hated anymore. Like Pelosi is, she's arguing. No, you can't. I want my husband to trade it. Come on, it's not fair. Like, give me a break.
That March 16th is the hearing now. They just announced that today. They're having a hearing in Congress on the insider trading scenario on March 16th.
New rules, they're putting new laws they're putting in place?
No, they're just having a hearing, an exploratory hearing.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
We got it. We have to tune in for that one. Hey, Stephen.
Yeah, Chris.
Will the
Frank,
criminal
that's crazy, Frank.
will the criminals ever go away?
Never.
No way. There's too much money around.
You got to think like a criminal, right?
I tell them that they make the heads of the 5 families look like chipmunks.
They really do.
But I mean, explain that. Think like a criminal.
Yeah, so you got to think just like them. Like I had a time, Chris. I got to run in a couple of minutes, guys. It's okay. To cut you off, but I remember a friend of mine. He was trading with me, my own money, and he put up money as well and everything like that. And he was very well off and everything. And every time the market went up, he couldn't take it, and he would just constantly short them. He hated when they went up. I said, John, you got to listen to me. This is what I made today, and you're down, and you got to go ask your father for more money now. I said, because you're killing me. I said, you have to think just like them.
Yeah.
Now, even though I'm getting buy signals and things like that or whatever, he's shorting the hell out of them. He didn't care about the buy signal.
You know how I
could not stand that they were going up.
You know how I say
people landscaping business.
You know how I say it at the beginning? People are wired differently. Bears are fucked up in the head. You understand? They have screws loose bears. They like.
People
they
are their
wanna
own
see-
worst enemies, Jay. They are a
I
glutton
know.
for punishment, you know? And, you know, one of the things I tell people all the time, that you really, really, really need to maintain your discipline. And listen, I attribute myself as an athlete, right? Athletes are disciplined to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, I know some crazy baseball players, but you know, the thing is that you really got to maintain the discipline each and every day. And that's what's going to bring great success to each and every one of you.
No doubt.
Drop the mic right there. Just stop right
Yeah.
there.
Boom.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thanks, Chris.
Stephen,
Stephen, it's been a
Jesus,
pleasure,
nice to meet
Stephen.
you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
You
let's
are-
have dinner one night. I'd like to meet you.
Yes, definitely.